The Golden State Warriors crushed the Pelicans 124-106. Full game analysis, yo, NBA fan. Welcome back to Deeper Dive Media. Tonight we're diving deep into the Warriors' dominant 124-106 road win over the Pelicans. This was a game that featured a breakout performance for the ages, a shaken coaching staff, and some really meaningful implications for both teams as they look ahead. We're going to break this down into three key segments for you. First, we'll look at what made the Warriors' offense click so well. Second, we'll analyze what the Pelicans did, and maybe more importantly, what they didn't do. And finally, we'll talk about what this single game means for both franchises going forward. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's kick it off. Right from the opening tip, the Warriors came out absolutely on fire. They dropped a staggering 44 points in the first quarter alone, building a 40-28 lead that immediately put them in the driver's seat. They were in complete control from the jump, but the real headline, the story everyone is talking about, is Moses Moody. The man had the game of his life, exploding for a career-high 38 points, and he did it by draining an incredible 8 three-pointers. His first quarter was simply historic. He hit 7 of his 8 field goal attempts, knocking down a flurry of triples that completely set the tone for the entire game. It was a masterclass in shooting. As a team, the Warriors were just letting it fly from deep, shooting 24 of 56 from three-point range. That's nearly 43%, an elite number in today's NBA. But it wasn't just about the offense. Their defense was swarming, forcing the Pelicans into 20 turnovers. The Warriors capitalized on those mistakes, converting them into 27 fast break points. That's how you build and maintain a lead on the road. What's even more impressive is how they did it. We all know the Warriors can be the Curry show, but on this night, Stephen Curry actually struggled. He finished with just 9 points on a tough 2-for-11 shooting night. But here's the thing, it didn't matter. The Warriors didn't even flinch. This is where their depth really shined. The role players stepped up in a massive way. We saw Jimmy Butler put up a solid 18 points and dish out 10 assists for a double-double. Rookie Brandon Pajemski was fantastic, chipping in 19 points of his own. This performance showed that the Warriors have a supporting cast capable of carrying the load when their superstar has an off night. Their ball movement was crisp, and that early lead they built put the Pelicans on their heels right away. Once Moody caught that rhythm, the momentum was unstoppable. There were a couple of key turning points in this game. That explosive 12-0 run in the first quarter really flipped the script and took the home crowd right out of it. The Pelicans did try to fight back, to their credit. This kind of offensive explosion is exactly what makes the Warriors so dangerous. When their role players and bench are delivering like this, and the threes are raining down, they can dominate any opponent, even when their stars aren't at their best. For the Pelicans, this game is a massive warning sign. It shows that if you don't execute with discipline, a team like the Warriors will exploit you with their pace, their shooting, and their depth. Now, let's flip the script and talk about the Pelicans' struggles and what went so wrong for them. We have to start with some context. New Orleans came into this game with major injury issues. Their superstar, Zion Williamson, was out, and his absence severely limits their offensive ceiling and lineup flexibility. You just can't replace that kind of talent and physical presence. On top of that, there was major organizational turbulence. This was the debut for interim coach James Borrego, who took over after the sudden firing of Willie Green. So you have a team missing its best player and adjusting to a brand new coach on the fly. That's a recipe for a tough night, and it showed on the court. The offensive numbers tell a bleak story. The Pelicans were flat from deep, shooting a dismal 8 of 29 from three-point range, which is just under 28%. That's not going to get it done against a high-powered offense. And the turnovers were just brutal. They gave the ball away 21 times, and as we mentioned, the Warriors turned those mistakes into 27 points. That's just handing the game away. Their defense simply couldn't keep up with the Warriors' pace. The early deficit, the fast break points, and the turnovers on their home court had all snowballed into an unwinnable situation. Now, it wasn't all bad. There were a couple of bright spots in the midst of the mess. Trey Murphy III put in a solid effort, leading the team with 20 points on a rough night. And Jose Alvarado brought his usual energy, contributing 18 points off the bench. But it just wasn't enough to overcome the team's larger issues. The bigger picture here is that without Zion and with a new coach trying to find his footing, the team's cohesion just wasn't there. They looked unsettled, disorganized, and completely vulnerable to a team that thrives on exploiting tempo and spacing. This loss drops the Pelicans to rough 2-11 on the season. They're going to have to fix some serious structural issues like their spacing, their off-ball movement, and most importantly, limiting those costly turnovers if the season isn't going to spiral out of control. So, what are the big strategic takeaways from this game? And what should we be watching for going forward? For the Warriors, the signals are overwhelmingly positive. First and foremost, depth matters. Moses Moody's career night was the headline, but the collective contribution from the bench with players like Pajimski and Butler stepping up is the even bigger story for their long-term health and championship aspiration. They also showed incredible resilience. Even on a night when Steph Curry is cold, this team doesn't fold. That's a crucial trait for any team with deep playoff ambitions. However, there are still some warning signs. The Warriors themselves committed 21 turnovers. Even in a blowout win, that's a glaring statistic that a better opponent will punish. They got away with it tonight, but they can't make a habit of it. This road trip continues into Florida, where they have some tough games ahead, so they'll need to maintain this momentum and clean up the mistakes to keep this winning streak alive. Now for the Pelicans, the warning lights are flashing, but there are also opportunities. Missing their star player and going through a coaching change. This is truly a reset moment for the franchise. If the Pelicans want to build something sustainable, they have to settle the roster, restore some sense of cohesion on the court, and cut down on the self-inflicted damage like turnovers and defensive breakdowns. The talent is there, but the execution is not. On the plus side, this situation is giving young players a chance to shine. Trey Murphy's 20-point game is a perfect example, and sometimes a coaching change can bring a fresh voice and new energy that can spark a turnaround. They have to hope that's the case here. In the broader context of the league, the Warriors starting this road trip 3-1 gives them some much-needed breathing room after a few earlier losses. The Western Conference is an absolute gauntlet this year, and this game provided a blueprint for how to win: superior spacing, relentless pace, and contributions from everyone on the roster. Teams that can't bring consistent two-way play are going to suffer. The Pelicans' slide to 2-11 is alarming. It's still early, but if they don't turn things around soon, they risk drifting completely out of playoff contention before the season even really gets going. So, let's boil it all down to a few key takeaways. Takeaway number 1, depth wins basketball games. When a non-star player like Moses Moody has a career night, and the role players on the bench follow his lead, the Warriors become a multifaceted and incredibly dangerous team. Takeaway number 2, injuries combined with instability is a toxic combination. For the Pelicans, missing their best player and dealing with a coaching change made them vulnerable. Even on their home court, it's a perfect storm of problems. And takeaway number 3, momentum matters. For Golden State, this win builds confidence and reinforces their winning formula. For New Orleans, this loss deepens the sense of urgency to fix things and fix them fast. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think is the bigger concern for the Pelicans right now? Zion's absence or the instability from the coaching change? Drop your take in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. And that's a wrap on this one, folks. The Warriors roll on, improving to 9-6 on the season, and they look like they're really starting to find their rhythm. The Pelicans, now at 2-11, have some serious soul-searching and hard work ahead of them. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and smash that like button. And be sure to follow for more post-game analysis. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace. Hoop lovers.